Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 20th of August. India's Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft successfully enters lunar orbit. Over 100 civilians wounded in bombings in eastern Afghanistan. And Sri Lankan Navy detains 4 Indian fishermen over poaching. And now for all the details. Around 6,000 people living in low-lying areas along the Yamuna River, Indian capital New Delhi, were evacuated and relocated to safer areas by government agencies on Tuesday as the river breached the danger mark on Tuesday. Rains and floods in the northern India have claimed at least dozens of lives so far and triggered landslides. Several areas in Punjab, Haryana and Uttar Pradesh are inundated.
As the water level of the Yamuna River crossed the danger mark in the Indian capital, around 6,000 people living near low-lying areas in east of Delhi were relocated to safer places on Tuesday. Officials said that the people are being shifted to temporary shelters set up by the administration, where food, water, sanitation and other facilities are being provided to them. The water level was expected to rise further as neighbouring Haryana province released 1.43 lakh cubic water after a spate in the river following incessant rains.
हमारे कल सुबह 9 बजे से ही इवैक्यूएशन ऑर्डर्स थे कि इवैक्यूएट करवाना सबको सेफली। तो कल सुबह 9 बजे से एक्सरसाइज चल रही है और जैसा कि आप देख रहे हैं ये सारे के सारे ऊपर की तरफ शिफ्ट करवा लिए गए। हमारे जो अभी टेंट्स लगे हुए हैं दिल्ली प्रशासन की तरफ से वो मेन रोड के ऊपर लगे हुए हैं, पैगोडा स्टाइल के टेंट है।
Relief and rescue operations continued in Jalandhar district of northern Punjab province as several villages were inundated because of breaches in earthen dams of the Satluj river. No fresh spell of rainfall was however reported in the province on Tuesday as a flood-like situation prevailed in several parts. Meanwhile, in northern Uttar Pradesh province, as the waters of the Ganges river in Varanasi inundated the ghats, people were facing problems in cremation rituals performed on the river banks of the holy city. Most of the rivers in the province were flowing above the danger mark.
Indian Space Research Organisation has successfully placed Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft into lunar orbit on Tuesday morning as planned, the space agency said. Chandrayaan-2 is India's most ambitious space mission till date.
The Indian Space Research Organisation or ISRO on Tuesday announced that the moon-bound Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft underwent a crucial orbit maneuver on August 20th. The move, called the lunar orbit insertion, makes the spacecraft capture the lunar orbit and start going around the moon. ISRO Chief K. Sivan said that Chandrayaan-2, India's second moon mission, is expected to land its rover on the southern pole of the moon on September 7.
Precise lunar orbit insertion maneuver carried out at 9 o'clock for about 30 minutes, precisely injected the Chandrayaan-2 in a defined orbit in a perfect way.
Chandrayaan-2, India's most ambitious space mission to date, had lifted off from the spaceport at Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh on July 22nd. If successful, the mission will make India the fourth country to soft land a rover on the lunar surface after Russia, US and China.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a telephonic conversation with US President Donald Trump, told him that extreme rhetoric and incitement to anti-India violence by certain leaders in the region was not conducive to peace. Trump has asked Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan to moderate rhetoric with India over Kashmir issue.
In a first highest level interaction since the special status of Jammu and Kashmir was revoked 2 weeks ago, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with US President Donald Trump on Monday. Prime Minister Modi conveyed that extreme rhetoric and incitement to anti-India violence by certain leaders in the region was not conducive to peace, an official release said. His comments assume importance in wake of Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan's provocative comments against the government of India and Indian action on the Kashmir issue. In a later development, President Trump called Pakistani Prime Minister and urged him to moderate rhetoric with India over the situation in Jammu and Kashmir in an effort to reduce tensions. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi in a press conference later said that Imran Khan called on Trump and America to play a role in resolving the issue.
कि सदर ट्रंप और अमेरिका इस करंट क्राइसिस को और रिजॉल्व करने में और इस तनाज़े को हल करने में अपना किरदार अदा करेगा.
Describing the situation in Kashmir as tough, Trump took to Twitter and said that he has urged India and Pakistan to work towards reducing tensions in the region. Meanwhile, restrictions are being phased out gradually in Jammu and Kashmir. Restrictions in the valley have been imposed since August 5, when the special status given to Jammu and Kashmir was abrogated and the state was bifurcated into two union territories.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa was handed a 3-year extension on Monday. His tenure was due to end in November this year.
Pakistan's Army Chief General Qamar Javed Bajwa was handed a 3-year extension on Monday. The 58-year-old general's tenure was due to end in November this year. In a statement announcing the decision, Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's office said, the decision has been taken in view of the regional security environment. This comes amid heightened tensions between New Delhi and Islamabad after India revoked the special status of Jammu and Kashmir earlier this month. General Bajwa was appointed the chief of the Pakistani Army in November 2016 by the then Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. During Bajwa's tenure, the military has been accused by opposition politicians of electoral manipulation to bring Prime Minister Imran Khan to power. Media outlets have also complained about strong restrictions on free speech. The military, which has ruled Pakistan for nearly half of its 72-year history, has denied interfering in politics or muzzling the media.
And in news from Afghanistan, the number of people wounded in multiple bomb blasts in the Afghan city of Jalalabad has risen to 123, officials said on Tuesday. No militant group has claimed responsibility for the attacks, but both Islamic State and the Taliban militants operate in the area which borders Pakistan.
A series of bombings struck restaurants and public squares on Monday in the eastern Afghan city of Jalalabad, wounding at least 66 people, officials said, as the residents were celebrating 100th Independence Day. No group claimed responsibility for the explosions, but both Islamic State and the Taliban militants operate in the area. The Jalalabad bombs were planted near a market where hundreds of people had congregated after attending Independence Day events. Senior health official Fahim Bashari said at least 66 people were wounded, including 20 children enjoying the public holiday. Meanwhile, in an official ceremony held at the Defence Ministry compound in Kabul to mark the Independence Day, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani vowed that they will avenge the killing of innocent Afghans following a suicide bomb at a wedding over the weekend.
ماشومان او خزه په نخه کړي او په ډیر وحشیانه ډول زموږ ښاریان په وینو ولمبول.
Militant group Islamic State claimed responsibility for the suicide bomb at a wedding reception that killed 63 people and wounded nearly 200.
The Bangladeshi government has raised the probable dengue death toll to 70 in the country this year so far. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has called for collective efforts to keep houses and offices clean to prevent mosquitoes from breeding.
The Bangladeshi government has raised the probable dengue death toll to 70 in the country. Aisha Akhtar, an assistant director at the Directorate General of Health Services or DGHS, said that 70 people died with a diagnosis of probable dengue fever so far this year. The figures reported by the DGHS on Sunday showed a total of 53,182 dengue patients from January 1 to August 18 this year, as compared to 10,148 cases and 26 deaths in the country last year. Against this backdrop, the government has asked state agencies for more coordinated efforts to rein in the outbreak of the disease. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has called for a collective efforts to keep houses and offices clean to prevent mosquitoes from breeding. The first case of mosquito-borne viral infection was reported in Bangladesh in 2000, and some 100 people died from the disease in 2000 to 2003.
And in news from Nepal, Nepalese Foreign Minister Pradeep Gyawali has said the nation is planning for an informal meeting on the sidelines of United Nations General Assembly this year.
Nepal is planning for an informal meeting of SAARC foreign ministers on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly or UNGA this year, the country's foreign minister Pradeep Gyawali said on Monday. Gyawali made the comments while responding to queries about Nepal's role in creating environment for commencement of the regional summit. Last SAARC summit was held in Nepal's capital Kathmandu in 2014, and it was Pakistan's turn to host the next summit in 2016. However, soon after the Uri attack in India, the summit was boycotted by 5 of the 8 member nations of the regional association.
सार्कका परराष्ट्र मन्त्रीहरूको अनौपचारिक बैठक हामीले न्युयोर्कको संयुक्त राष्ट्रसङ्घको 74औं महासभाको साइडलाइनमा हामीले त्यहाँ आयोजना पनि गर्दैछौँ। त्यहाँ पनि हामीले छलफल गर्नेछौँ। सार्क सक्रिय होस् भन्ने हाम्रो चाहना छ।
India, the largest member of the South Asian regional body, has said it is ready to participate if Pakistan downgrades its terror activities and attacks on its soil. The 74th session of the UN General Assembly is scheduled to be held in September this year.
4 Indian fishermen were apprehended and the fishing boat was seized by the Sri Lankan Navy on Tuesday for allegedly fishing in its waters. Fishermen from both the countries frequently stray into each other's territory and then end up spending years in jails.
Four Indian fishermen were arrested by the Sri Lankan Navy on Tuesday for allegedly poaching in its territorial waters. The fishermen had gone out fishing in Bulk Bay Sea near Delft Island when they were apprehended by the Lankan Navy personnel who were on their routine patrol in the early hours of the day, and their boat was also seized. The arrested fishermen had been taken to Kange Sundarai Naval Camp in Sri Lanka for further interrogation till the last reports came in.
ஆனால் தமிழ்நாட்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய இந்த பாக்ஸல சந்தியில மீன் பிடிக்கிறது மிகப்பெரிய ஒரு சவாலாக இன்னைக்கு இருக்கு.
The detention of the 4 fishermen comes a week after the Lankan Navy arrested 7 fishermen on similar charges. India shares an expensive oceanic border with Sri Lanka without any perceptible demarcation, and fishermen on both sides ignore rules while netting their catch.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. India's Chandrayaan-2 spacecraft successfully enters lunar orbit. Over 100 civilians wounded in bombings in eastern Afghanistan. And Sri Lankan Navy detains 4 Indian fishermen over poaching. Now, viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/Asia Newsline and follow us on Twitter @Asia Newsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.